This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Hello, this is Gray Hughes. I am doing a shorter version of the last live show because there's a lot of people that get triggered if you don't allow them to say whatever the hell they want to say on your channel, and they don't like it when you talk and pause a press conference because they just want to hear the whole thing. And see, I have a live show where I do it how I want to do it, not how you want me to do it. Okay, so if you don't like the way I do my show, it's simple. Just don't watch it. It's that simple, okay? Now, my channel grows slower than other channels, but the people who do subscribe to my channel like the way I do my show, okay? So if you don't like it, don't watch it, okay? So what happened last night was an individual named Keven Springfield, and Keven Springfield is 30 years old, Brandon Rollins is 27, and Damion Tillman is 23 years old. They were going to go night fishing at a lake called Streety Lake, and they were to meet on Streety Road that goes right around one of the sides of the lake. Well, Damion Tillman got there first in his red truck, which is verified on his Facebook page. I showed that on the previous live. And the other two friends, Kevin and Brandon, were going to be there later. But before they got there, however, Damion Tillman was killed by somebody, or, a few people perhaps. It sounds like there was multiple people that killed him, and then when Kevin and Brandon showed up, they too were shot at and killed, and they were also beaten. All of them were beaten and shot. So it sounds a little bit personal there. That part's interesting. And Brandon, though, survived the initial shooting and called his father and told him, help me. And the father showed up to the scene, found Brandon lying there. He was still alive, and Brandon was able to talk to him and describe to him the people who shot at them. Okay, so it's very interesting. So next you will be listening to the press conference, all right? So here we go right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on this Saturday morning to tell you some very bad news. This is Lake Streety Road, and it's about as far out in the middle of the woods as you can get. It's a peaceful area. There's a beautiful lake that three very close friends were coming fishing on last night. And all three of them are dead. They're murdered. Worse than that, they're massacred. And we need the community's help identifying who killed these three young white men. It's a Friday night. What could be more wholesome than meeting up with two of your best buddies to go catfishing? And it's called night fishing in this part of the world. These three men all lived in Frostproof. Let me tell you who they are. Brandon Rollins, Keven Springfield, and Damion Tillman. Now, they're victims, and according to Marcy's law, you're not supposed to release their names. However, we got permission of the family to release their names because we want the community to know who they are and to know that they were viciously murdered and to know that we need their help. Here's what occurred. They were to show up here in two separate vehicles. So Damion Tillman in his red pickup truck apparently arrived here first. What I give you is certainly conjecture and all subject to change. This is just what we see from the crime scene, and most of that we're going to protect. But it appears that Damion showed up first, and he was murdered. And it appears that while the suspects, and we certainly believe there's more than one, were in the process of murdering Damon, that Brandon and Keven showed up in a white pickup truck. And they were shot up and ultimately murdered. But here's what the murderers didn't count on. That one of our victims, Brandon Rollins, was able to call his father and say, help. His father, who was home in bed asleep, heard the call from his son, knew where they were fishing, jumped up, got dressed, drove here immediately. He's about 10 minutes away in the Frostproof community. When he arrived, he saw this horrific scene of where all these young men had been shot up. In Brandon's father's excitement to run to and help his son, he forgot his cell phone at home. So now he's out in the middle, as you can see, of no place without any communications. So he hopped back in his vehicle and went to Sunray, which is on Highway 27, ran into the convenience store. They all know each other in this area. Said, my son needs help. 17-year-old young lady who's the daughter of the convenience store attendant at that time jumps in the vehicle with Brandon's father, and they come back to the scene. What the murderers also didn't count on is Brandon had the opportunity to talk to his dad before he died. So EMS, fire, and sheriff's office are notified, and ultimately by the time EMS and fire arrived, that Brandon had succumbed to his injuries as well. We're holding most of the information very close to the chest, but it's important for you to know and for the community to be as outraged as we are. These folks appear to be beaten and shot. Did you hear me? Beaten and shot. We are seeking leads. We need help so that we can solve this crime sooner rather than later, because there are one or more, and we suspect more than one, murderer that killed 3 people in a little country community, a very safe, very quiet, quaint, very quiet community, murdered them while they were on their way to go catfishing last night at about 10 o'clock in the evening. So please call us. We usually wait a few days before we put out the first reward offer, but we're offering today $5,000. $5,000. You don't have to get involved in, don't have to testify in court. All you have to do is call Crime Stoppers, 1-800-226-TIPS, and say, I have some information. And if your information leads to the arrest, simply the arrest, you get $5,000 cash money. But the victims, their parents, and their families deserve for us to solve this sooner rather than later. This is a horrific scene. I've been to a lot of murder scenes in my life, and this ranks among the worst I've been to. You can ask questions. I'm probably not going to tell you any more than I have, but give it your best shot if you're curious.
Do you have the ages of the 3 victims?
I do. Brandon Rollins is 27, Damion Tillman is 23, and Keven Springfield is 30. I'm told that they have been best buddies for years, that they do a lot of social interaction together, and they're all really good friends and have been.
When Brandon's father got out here, was he still alive at that time?
He was still alive. Brandon had the opportunity to speak with his father just before he passed away.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, did he give his father any information about who may have been responsible for this?
The information that Brandon told his father, we're not releasing at this time.
Do you believe that the people responsible are known to the victim?
Have no idea at this point in the investigation. That's total speculation as to whether or not they knew them or not. But our intuitiveness tells us you don't just stumble upon somebody out here. This is a dirt road, a clay dirt road, way out in the middle of what we call God's country, on the way to a nice little fishing lake. It's not like there's a lot of people around here. As you can see, it's cow pastures and lakes. All right? We appreciate you helping us get this information out. We're going to find who did this. And we're going to put them in jail and hold them accountable. But you can make this happen sooner rather than later. And after all, think about it. This is someone's sons, brothers, and we deserve to find these people and lock them up before they decide to kill someone else. And at this point in time, what do they have to lose? They've already killed 3. Thank you very much.
Okay, so to verify the truck, this is one of the images of the red truck off of Damion Tillman's Facebook page. Okay, now you can see right here it's a GMC truck, GMC, same writing on the windshield, definitely the same truck. So that verifies that this truck right here is Damion Tillman's truck. And I believe this white truck right here was the truck that Keven Springfield and Brandon Rollins were in. Okay, now looking at some of these images here, you can see that the road turns around right here and there's a grove of trees that go off to the side there as the road curves. The lake's off to the left there. Okay, so I did find this location. It took a while because it was just difficult because the terrain is so different. There's actually a street view that you can go to, and if you go down to street view here, you'll notice that there's no tree right there. And there is a tree out there, but there is no tree right in this general area. And that makes it made it difficult because see this tree right there? You can definitely see that tree right here in this shot. And I wasn't able to see it on Street View because Street View is 12 years old. Okay, so the location of the crime scene, if you look at this shot right here, looks like it's right past that tree or even connected to that tree. So I have the crime scene right in that location. The area of the press conference was right here. Okay, and then when the father, he got out to the scene, he didn't bring his cell phone because he hustled out of the house and he forgot it. So he actually drove into town here to a convenience store, made some phone calls, and then he went back out there with another individual, and they waited there for police to get there, and it turns out that Brandon passed away from his injuries. So all 3 individuals were killed out there, and at this point nobody really knows exactly why they were killed. Okay, so that is what's going on right now. You'll probably, you'll see other YouTube channels, they've already put out almost exactly the same information, even have the same location on a map. Isn't that amazing how they were able to do that? I'm sure they didn't watch my show or anything. I'm sure they did. Okay, everybody, thank you very much, and until next time, be safe out there.